world. Welcome. It's Lindsay here. To those of you catching this as the replay, hello. Throw up a hashtag replay. Let me know you were here. As we wait for some people to come hang out and play with us live. So really just wanting to hop on here and lead a conversation that needs to be had. Some stuff that's really kind of coming through today, wanting to be said. So we're going to have a conversation today about soul embodiment. And those of you that are tuning in live, say hello. Let me know you're here. We're going to talk a little bit about soul embodiment and what that is and what it is not, and where soul embodiment has kind of been falsely represented, okay? Because right now we're watching so much stuff happening, and everybody in the world has their own perspective and feelings on what is happening. And the higher up our perspective is able to go, and I don't mean higher up as in better, I just mean the higher frequency consciousnesses we're able to plug into, the more perspectives open up for us, right? And the more perspectives we open ourselves up to, the more we're able to see all the sides and levels and layers of what is happening in the world right now. And by what is happening, I am speaking directly to the aftermath of George Floyd and all of the protests that are shifting into riots and the conversations about racism and everything that is going on in the world right now, right? We're in a collective purge. And what I want to speak to is that every single one of us on the planet has a duty right now to go within and to look at where we may be carrying programming. I do not believe that the majority of the world is just racist. I don't believe that, right? I believe there are racists in the world, and I believe for the most part, people have not yet gone within and done the work around really dismantling where slight little stereotypes and microaggressions have taken root in their psyches. And so that's like the work we have to do, right? We each have an individual responsibility to navigate our own emotions, to go within and unpack our own emotions, not put our own emotions out onto anybody, especially not the Black community. And we need to listen, and we need to hear, and we need to learn how to hold space for other people's experiences. Because one of the things I'm witnessing right now is an inability to hold space for anybody else's experience. And that's happening across all fucking planes right now. Like, that's happening in all areas. And here's the thing, right? Your soul, every single one of you has a soul frequency, a soul essence. Those of you who follow me are going to be familiar with this because this is the core of everything that I do, right? Every single one of us has a soul essence, a higher self, a higher consciousness, a part of us that hangs out in a higher dimensional frequency, and has access to higher frequency consciousnesses, okay? That's just there for all of us. Whether or not we want to access it is completely up to each and every one of us, right? We all have a choice here. Everybody has a choice to sit in this perspective, to sit in this perspective, to sit in this perspective, to sit in this perspective. And the way we begin to shift our perspective is by listening to people that maybe we don't agree with, is by putting ourselves into the shoes of another, right? We expand our perspectives and we expand our mind by considering things we've never considered before. And right now, it is truly just our duty to do that, right? Every single human on the planet. We have a duty to process our emotions, to navigate our trauma, to do our healing, to take responsibility for what we're carrying in our physical bodies, our mental bodies, our emotional bodies, and our energetic bodies, so that our soul essence can come down and anchor into physicality. Because here's the thing, right? Embodied souls, people who are embodied in their soul essence, do not perpetuate hate and racism and division, right? People that are embodied in their soul, and I'm not saying, okay, let's go there, right? one of the things in false light and the so-called spiritual communities that we see is this need, this desire to want to bypass, right? These are people, leaders, spiritual leaders who the world has looked at, influencers, if you want to call it, who the world has looked at as people who are embodied in their soul essence because that's what they preach. However, if you've been watching these people, watching them, and seeing them throughout the past years, you would have seen that their actions don't always match up with what they're speaking, right? So now the true colors are coming out and the masks are coming off, and they're wanting to bypass what is going on because they're not truly embodying their soul essence. It's been an act all along, or they've been embodying it at whatever level they perceived and convincing the world that they're just these enlightened, embodied soul beings and blah, 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 right? And you're seeing the true colors now because true embodied soul essence, while yes, it vibrates at the frequency of love and harmony and unity and equality, it is also not afraid to stand right down here in the third dimension, in the duality, in the rage, in the anger, and hold fucking space and anchor in a space of love in the trenches of fucking duality. Okay? So if you are listening to anybody who is preaching love and light and they are unwilling to acknowledge and allow anyone to have their experience wherever that is, however dualistic it is, however angry or, low vibrational it is to their opinion, just stop listening to them because they're not, that's not embodied soul essence, right? That's not true embodiment of soul. True embodiment of soul is so grounded in its love and acceptance and equality and harmony that it can hold that vibration in the midst of rage and trauma and anger, guilt, shame. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what shit is flying around a truly embodied soul. The frequency of soul, it doesn't have to run away or bypass lower density. And I'm not saying they're bad, they're just dense, right? The painful emotions that as humans we all try to run away from because we've been taught that we don't have emotional sovereignty, right? And so what we're watching unfold right now is a symptom of a much deeper problem. And that deeper problem is disconnection from our truth, right? From our soul essence, from all of the beautiful high frequencies of love and unity and compassion that are available to us when we start to access our souls, right? That disconnection has been orchestrated. Trust and believe that disconnection from your soul frequency has been orchestrated by the people who want to control you. And if you don't believe that there are people on this earth that want to control you and beings on this earth that want to control you, I don't know what to tell you, and I'm probably not going to be interested in debating with you either. But if you really just still believe that everybody on the planet who's trying to make mass decisions for the collective about health and wellness has your best interest in mind, I don't know what to tell you. So the truth is this, right? There is nobody in any community right now that can speak for every member of that community, that group, if you will. That's just not, right? There are people who are repeating words of certain leaders and making it out as those words are the truth for that whole group. And that's incorrect, right? That's incorrect. And one of the ways we have been most robbed of our sovereignty as individuals and collectively is that we've been forced into places where we don't believe we have a voice, or we don't believe we have power over what happens to us. And that, of course, affects our communities of color more. Because resources, right? And so there's a lot of talk about New Earth in spiritual circles, and the same people who talk about New Earth and ushering in this New Earth like to talk about it as though it's just going to be this slide down a rainbow into a cushy field of butterflies or something. And that's just not it, right? Because the whole idea of New Earth is a higher frequency Earth, an Earth where unity and compassion and love and harmony are the ruling frequencies, instead of fear and lack and scarcity and all of these other frequencies that we've been anchored into for so long here on Earth, right? And what I need everybody to understand, I don't need you, but what I would like you to understand is that welcoming in this is the path to New Earth, because for Earth to ascend, Earth is ascending right now. Those of you that follow the Schumann frequency, those of you that follow the stuff like that, you'll know that there's all kinds of stuff happening with Earth's frequency. It's because she's ascending. So in order for us to remain on Earth in physical form as human beings, we have to evolve too. Physically, our physical bodies have to evolve to be able to hold the frequency of Earth. So do you understand what that means, right? If the frequency is rising, and we're talking about emotional frequencies, and there's this whole scale of emotions, do you think that we can hang out on a higher frequency planet Earth if we are full of low frequency stuff that we haven't healed? If we're chock full of trauma and pain and scarcity and despair and hopelessness and depression, do you think we can exist on that higher frequency plane of Earth? Right? It has to be shaken out of us. And so from my perspective, from where I understand and what I am observing, anger and rage is the path, right? Because anger and rage is higher frequency than oppression and depression and hopelessness, right? Hopelessness, depression, grief, sadness, those are some of the bottom density emotions. They're not bad, they're just dense. They're heavy, they're painful. Okay, so that anger and that rage is actually moving up the vibrational scale. It's an improvement. So I'm welcoming it. I'm holding space for it. I'm not judging it. Not judging my own when it comes up, and I'm certainly not judging those that are expressing theirs right now. And in fact, as a healer, I think that that's the most powerful thing I can offer to the community now, is to just hold space and offer services and healing. Because you know what it comes down to? Each and every one of us as an individual, regardless of what fucking color our skin is, has a duty right now to heal our shit. Now that's going to look different based on I'm not negating that, like, that's going to look very different based on skin color and ethnicity and where we grew up and even gender, right? There's so many layers to this healing and the shit that we have to unpack that comes from our ancestors. But each of us has an individual duty to address whatever's rising up for us. And as someone who likes to anchor into my soul essence as much as I possibly can at this time, I'm holding space for everyone's experience, whatever that looks like. And that's going to be an unpopular opinion for some people, and I'm okay with that, right? Because there are some people who want to stay in the anger and burn it all down. That's their experience. There are others who want to continue to try to not see what is happening, and that's their experience. And I will continue to hold up the mirror and shine the light on what is happening until they see it. Right? Yeah. Hell yeah, Lindsay, right? I see you. Lana, hi. And the thing about being anchored into your soul frequency is that when you are firm in your soul identity, you can witness anything that is going on without it taking your identity, right? How many of you have witnessed yourselves or observed yourselves getting hijacked by things outside of you? whether it's a narrative, whether it's an event, whether it's what's going on right now, whether it was COVID, whether it's this, whether it's that, right? Where we start to like wear it and make it our identity. Anybody give me a yes if that's ever happened to you, right? As coaches and healers, like sensitive souls, empaths, starseeds, like we do that, right? Because we go through life and we look for who am I? And we look for life to make sense. And the only time that's ever going to make sense, the only time it's going to finally click in for you is when you connect to that soul essence and that soul frequency and you welcome it into your body. But that soul frequency is high vibrational. And so if it comes down into your body and your physical body is full of all this unhealed density and trauma, guess what that soul essence is going to do? It's going to fucking check out, because it's going to be like, oh my God, I can't fucking say. And this has been my life experience. This is why I'm choosing to share this right now, right? Because have any of you ever experienced connecting with your soul essence, connecting with your soul consciousness, and feeling like overwhelmed by being human, feeling, and I'm talking about even before any time in your life, right? I'm talking about your whole life. As a kid, I constantly felt overwhelmed. I didn't have the knowledge I have now, so I didn't understand that when I was overwhelmed as a kid, it was because I was connecting to my soul essence, my soul consciousness, and my soul consciousness couldn't fucking make sense of this dense, heavy body, and it couldn't make sense of all the emotions that were flying around my household, and the anger and the rage and the trauma and the blah, 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 right? It couldn't make sense of the anxiety, and I didn't understand why, right? Because in the 70s and 80s, we just weren't talking about being able to anchor our soul essence into our bodies. And when that split is happening, it creates so much anxiety and depression and identity disorder. So when we start to do the work and we start to take the journey, right? It is a journey. This is not an overnight quick fix fluff. Here you go, 5-minute Amazon same-day delivery solution of what's happening. The journey to soul essence is a journey. And I am by no means claiming that I never go into my human self. Like I do. My small self comes out, right? And it's over the past week, it's been a constant check-in. I'm constantly checking back in and grounding back into, okay, where am I coming from right now? And that's the point, right? The point is learning to observe yourself wherever you are and love yourself wherever you are. Because the more you do that, it means you're checking in with your higher self, your soul essence. And if you can love and observe yourself wherever you are, whether you're in anger, whether you're in sadness, whether you just ate the whole bag of cookies, whether you're throwing yourself down on the floor crying, guess what happens? You can then do that for others. Right? When we're in a position where we cannot allow others to have their experience, it's because we're not allowing ourselves to have our own experience. People who oppress themselves then try to oppress others. People who silence themselves will try to silence others. People who dismiss themselves will dismiss others. It's just a mirror. Everything in the world is a mirror. And we have a choice right now, right? We can stand in feet on the ground, feel it to heal it. Yes, sister, right? I spent my life overwhelmed until I started. Yes, exactly, Chris, right? Boots on the ground. So the most powerful thing we can do right now is stand on the ground with our feet on the ground and anchor in the pillar of just love, unconditional love and compassion. And that is what I'm here to do. I am here to hold space and anchor in love and compassion while also acting from love and compassion, meaning I will donate my services, I will lend an ear, I will donate money, I will take action, and every single thing that I am going to take action on will be from a place of love and compassion and equality, and not from fighting anything. Right? I am here to anchor in solution. And if that means you need me to sit and listen to you while you rage or you cry or you burn something down, I will do that. If you want to energetically come into the quantum and burn shit down, I will create an energetic container that will hold that. Yeah, Lana, love and compassion, right? And I understand also, because when I look upon this from the perspective of my soul, I understand that we are on the path to New Earth. And for New Earth to truly become a physical reality, each and every one of us has to purge. And the people with the most to purge are going to be the people who have been most oppressed. And that is our community of color, right? And I get that not everybody in that community feels that way. And I get that too, right? I get that there is no one answer for any one group. There are two timelines being presented to us right now from a quantum perspective. And we get to choose, and you better believe that in the course of an hour you can hop between both timelines. This is the nature of being quantum and multidimensional. And so the message that is wanting to come through, that's wanting to come through me, is to just check yourself before acting, check yourself before speaking, and ask yourself where you're coming from. Are you coming from problem and drama and scare? And it's okay if you are. Please if you are, acknowledge it and purge it. That's the best thing you can do. And then move yourself into solution, right? Are you coming from equality and unity and solution? Or are you coming from separation? Which timeline do you want to feed energy into? We all get to choose, right? I know where I'm going. And like I said, boots on the ground, I will stand here and I will serve by the side and hold space for anyone that needs to purge anything, that wants support with that. Like, true high vibrational embodiment, being anchored into your high vibrational truth, doesn't run away from duality and darkness, because truly embodied high vibrational frequencies, anchored in high vibrational identity, doesn't fear the duality. It doesn't fear the darkness and the density. I'm not saying to go build your fucking house in it and live there, right? Do whatever you need to do throughout your day to anchor into that high frequency. I have my practices that I do, right? When I need to, I step away. But if you're wanting to not look at it, ask yourself why, right? Ask yourself why, and lean in to what's uncomfortable about what you're seeing. Lean into the cognitive dissonance, right? And wherever you are, be there. And just take the journey, commit to taking the journey, right? There's a lot of talk about doing better. And that's going to be a process, right? That's going to be a journey. And in a world that looks for instant fucking gratification, that's going to be a journey. And we all have to commit to individually doing better. And in all things you do, just check your intention. What is my intention right now? Where is this coming from? Because if you're acting from a place of dense emotion, you're simply perpetuating that dense emotion. If you're acting from a place of love, you're perpetuating love. If you're acting from a place of fear, you're perpetuating fear, right? Don't sit back and be fucking afraid to speak and shine your light. That's not freedom, right? But be open to hearing another's perspective. Be open and accepting of the fact that not everybody will agree with you. And if you're coming from a place of love, that is okay. And question, because questions are your superpower, right? That's really one of the things, like the ability to question is one of our superpowers. And if you notice, our ability to question has been more and more removed from us, because there are beings on the planet that do not want you to question. They do not want you to access your critical thinking. They do not want you to be able to think. The ability to question deeply comes from your third eye chakra, your Ajna chakra, third eye. This is why I was pointing up here before when I said, are you seeing? Not are you seeing? Are you seeing? Right? There's a difference. There's a difference between seeing what is and then there's and seeing what is. And so no matter where you're at in all of that, in all of this quantum multidimensional soup that is unfolding right now, see if you can start observing yourself. I commit to being an anchor of soul embodiment and a embodied anchor of high frequency potential and light. And I will commit to anchoring that into 3D, into duality, because the more we shine the light, right? Darkness is lack of light. Light is information. Darkness is lack of information. And so right now, as Earth is purging and the collective is purging and our people are purging, I'm not going to turn away from their anger and their rage and their trauma. I'm going to anchor the light into that space for them so that when they are ready, they can navigate their way out and right? Because that is it. Through anchoring our light, it goes ping, 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 and we light each other up. Hey, Lauren. We light each other up. Nobody needs saving. There's nobody on this planet that needs me to swoop in and save them. Nobody needs saving. But I can hold my light long enough for the next person to see it and the next person to get lit up and their light to get lit up. Right? If you're angry, take your time with your anger. Let yourself feel your anger. Walk through it. But when the fire of anger begins to dim down, look for the next best feeling thought. Can you go from anger to revenge, anger to frustration? How can you look to where you can keep going for the next best feeling thought? Because this is what I do, right? Emotional frequency work and emotional sovereignty work is what I do. So if you're wanting help with this, reach out and we can talk about sessions or whatever. And if you are any one of my community that is a person of color that is navigating these crazy emotions right now and intense emotions and deep emotions, I will donate my sessions to you. Reach out to me if you want assistance with your healing. Not because I think that you need me to save you, but because sometimes the most powerful thing in healing is someone to hold neutral space for us, right? To be witnessed, to be guided, to be held while we navigate the emotions, right? There is a shitstorm happening of emotions for our people of color. Our communities of color, right, are being shaken loose with generations of trauma and pain and all of that. Right? And healing is universal. So I don't claim to know your struggle, but I do know healing. And so if I can support any of you in that way, I want to offer a session for you to hold space to navigate as a gift. And if any of my non-person of color friends would like support, message me about how you can book some sessions. Because healing is universal, and it is something that I know well. And it doesn't matter. Someone doesn't need to know your personal struggle to hold space for you to heal. And that is what I'm offering as a gift to any people in my community who are people of color, who are navigating extreme emotional pain and complex emotions right now. Because I understand emotions, and I don't care what color your skin is, emotions are emotions, and human emotions are human, and being human is being human. And I do understand emotional healing and emotional sovereignty. And I have some wonderful people who are very gifted at healing trauma, who I'm sure would be honored to serve you, that I could connect you with as well. And when I say serve, I mean donation as a gift, because that's what I want to do. And so for anyone who's listening to this and you're asking what you can do right now, one of the most powerful things you can do is process your own emotions, or come and do some emotional healing work with me. Anchor into your light, because it's through the purging of our densities that our soul frequency is going to be able to make its home in our bodies. It's like this, right? I'm going to end with this. Up until now, you could imagine that physical body is down here. Physical Lindsay had gone through life and experienced her pains and her traumas and her things, and stored them at different places in her body and different places in her emotional body. And every time that contraction happened, true soul frequency pushed further out. And every time soul frequency tried to come down into the body, it was like, no, there's too much contraction. Check back out. And every once in a while it would come back in, and I would check back out. All right, this is for all of us in different capacities. So as I started healing and I started expanding in my physical body, guess what happened? Soul frequency was able to come. My soul consciousness was able to come more fully into my body. And that is how I'm going to be able to serve the world right now, right? That is my gift to the world right now. My gift to the world right now is being able to stand amongst all of the fire, figuratively and literally, stand in the face of someone's rage and pain and wounds and whatever, and hug you and hold you energetically or physically, however you need it. Right? Because even the deepest wound cannot remain a wound in the presence of true divine love and light. And that means those of us who get this, who can access this, cannot be turning away. Right? Remember, true high frequency embodiment doesn't run away from the pain and trauma and suffering of others. It welcomes it, because it's our natural state. So I hope you all found this helpful. I hope you all found it beneficial. Thank you to my beings who are co-creating with me and speaking through me. I love all of you. Yeah, Chris, exactly. Oh, the sunglasses. I'm sending you all so much love. If I can serve you in any way, please reach out. Be wildly you.